So, I just got done watching this week's film, Blind Beast, and I'm depressed. This week's review, the 1969 Japanese sleazy classic, The Blind Beast, directed by Yasuzo Masumura. And it's really hard to pinpoint the genre of this film. Is this a sleazy fetish film that the Japanese were known to be producing at the time? Is this a family drama? Or is this something that makes you dread waking up in the morning? Spoiler alert, all of the above. I wanna die. Fun fact, it's also based on a book by the same title. Now if you're wondering if the book is better, I don't know, it's from 1931 and it's in Japanese. The film starts with a narration from our main character. Her name is Aki, and she's a model who's not very famous. However, recently she has been working for a Shibari photographer. And the narration is over a montage of beautiful pictures where she is featured. I would love to show you those pictures, however YouTube doesn't even like the idea of a nipple on their website, so it's a no-go for me, sadly. Aki then walks into the gallery because she had a meeting with the photographer. However, when she walks on a man who just sensually touches a statue of her, she is a bit freaked out. The man is just a fan of arts and craft, give him a break. After she's gone, he keeps touching the statue, clearly oblivious to the fact that that same lady he was touching was there in real life. Then we cut to the apartment of Aki. It's after a photo shoot and she's tired, so she needs a massage, and she calls one to come to her home. However, it's not her usual masseur, and it's instead the blind man from the beginning, but he's using the classic Clark Kent strategy of just wearing glasses. People are fucking dumb. But she starts to question if it's really a professional masseur after a couple of inappropriate touches. Then she finally remembers his face from the gallery. And obviously she's like, bro, get out of my apartment. Don't worry though, I'll pay you. And while she's looking for the money, the masseur takes out a towel full of chloroform. As she falls asleep, we also discover that the man's mother is also behind this kidnapping. As the old saying goes, a family that commits felonies together, stay together. Something like that. Anyways, they bring Aki home to their kinky sex dungeon. She wakes up and she is surrounded by these weird sculptures of eyes. As the blind man introduces himself, we discover that he's actually a sculptor. So it wasn't him being creepy in the gallery, he was just doing some research. He then gives her a big speech about the sense of touch and how it's important and how he's a true artist. Which just sounds like excuses he made up to explain his groping problem. Yes, every man on the train in Japan is just a big sculpture and they just have to fill the person. As he's explaining himself, we get to see the rest of the amazing set design of this film. It really seems like this infinite, endless, just beautiful design with sculptures of body parts everywhere, and then when he finally turns on the light, we get these two giant statues of, women's body, and most of the film is actually in that set, and it's an incredible feat of filmmaking that they were able to, produce this and make this up to scale. It's really beautiful craftsmanship, and it really makes you appreciate this film even more. Our blind man keeps talking and talking and talking to eventually reveal that he only wanted to kidnap her to use her as a model. He pleads her to please model for him, and he even offers her money, which, dude, if you want to pay her, why not just, I don't know, call her agent, meet her, talk about your project. You don't have to kidnap her. This movie could have all been solved with a phone call. She tells him to, of course, fuck off. Reasonable answer. But the man won't take no as an answer, and he says he'll keep her locked up until she changes her mind. Ah yes, the good old Stockholm strat. After they fight for a bit, he chloroforms her again. Then in the morning, she finally accepts to model for him. And since, you know, like most artists, he's kind of a narcissist, she just compliments him a little, and he completely forgets whatever she told him the day before. And he's pleased to learn that she's changed her mind. As she starts modeling, she pretends to have a stomach ache. As he leaves to go get her medicine, she takes this opportunity to try to escape. She's almost there, but she gets caught by Big Mama, who again chloroforms her. I guess this is just a family tradition at this point. Her next strategy is probably the best for her to escape. She decides to try to seduce him. We get to learn that he grew up without a father and without any friends. The only person he really had was his mother. And let's hope their relationship is not a bad boy bubby type of relationship. We also learned that big news, he never had a woman before, and this is where our model takes advantage of the situation to try to escape. She's gonna try to seduce him and pin him against his mom. She asks him to stay in the room for dinner and even talks to him about the wonderful world of alcohol. She's gonna get him drunk. After they're done their dinner and he's had a few, it's time for him to sculpt the breasts. And oh boy is he glued to those. Then of course the seduction goes full sexual and the mother walks in. And that of course pisses off the mother, who sees this young lady as a no good whore. And the mother warns the boy that she's only doing that to escape him. Of course, but our man has like his first boner, so you can't really blame him. And this is clearly too much for Mother, and on a winter night she wakes up Aki to take her out of the building. She wants her to escape. This is how jealous she is. She walks her out of the room, but the blind man catches them. And then the mother and the son get into a little fight, and it turns into a pretty heated argument. And Aki is just stuck between the two of them, and she's like, yo bro, can I just get the fuck out of here? And she's pretty nonchalant until Mother tells her that she's a no good dirty slut. And let's just say that Aki doesn't take that very well. And then this family dispute eventually leads Mother to try to choke Aki. And the sculptor has none of that cause, you know, he's in love. And he jumps on his mother and pushes her out of the way, but accidentally kills her. Didn't see that one coming. As he's crying the death of his mother, Aki tries to escape. But she's a bit of a, you know, loosey-goosey, and she falls on something and makes a loud noise, and our blind man really seems upset. He then pins her on the table as she tells him nothing but the truth. And this is where he goes full nutter butter, which also means he's gonna go out and nut in her. Spoiler alert. She hits him with a shovel, but he doesn't even seem bothered. He then brings her back to his studio to, of course, okay, he rapes her. This is a Japanese film. Of course there was gonna be rape. I'm sorry, people. I didn't read the script. After he's done the statue, we can see that his Stockholm strat did pay off. She fell in love with him. Aww. Isn't that cute? But she's also fallen in love with the idea of the sense of the touch, and she craves more and more hardcore shit. As the film winds to an end, she gets even more sexually demanding. We go from Shibari to her getting whipped and eventually blood play. I fucking hate blood play. And the blind man doesn't really look into it either, but he suffers from something that all of us men suffer from: erections. And he can't refuse. And then this eventually leads to the finale of the film, where Aki and our blind man are on the brink of death, and she wants to experience the pleasures of flesh one last time, but this time more extreme. She wants Michio to cut off all of her body parts so she can finally experience the ultimate orgasm. And then the film ends. The Blind Beast. Well, first things first, this is my first experience with director Yasuzo Masumara, and yeah, I definitely want to see more of his films. Good thing I bought 3 of them on the last Arrow sale. Well, while they were at Fantasia. Now, this YouTube video title is probably something like the Citizen Kane of fetish films or something in that nature. And I truly mean it. This was a big surprise. I already knew from the description I was gonna like this. You're talking about the guy who loved Fairy in a Cage, Flower and Snakes, Shogun's Joy of Torture, you know, those types of, you know, early 70s to mid 70s Japanese pink films, which are sexually explicit but also have this vibrant tone to them that's almost hopeful. This is not. This is nihilism on celluloid. The fact that this film is mostly in the studio, which is this very dark and seedy place, and the only exterior shots we get after she's captured are these very bleak winter scenery shots. And it just adds to the bleakness because nobody likes winter and snow. I fucking hate snow. Now I know for a lot of my audience, this is not the best film for them. You guys like the blood, you guys like the sex, you guys like the underground, you guys like the extreme. And yes, in a way, I do like that too. I love that, in fact, that's why I made this channel. But this one hits different. This one makes you feel. The scene where the mother eventually dies, it just puts you on the edge of your seat, and it's one of the best made drama sequence from one of these films. And when she dies and the actor realizes she dies, his performance is gut-wrenching. You truly feel what he's feeling. His mother just passed away. This man has been living with his mother for his entire life. This is the only person he knew. Their bond was stronger than anything else, and she died. And when he learns that, Aki was just playing with him to escape the situation, you truly feel his rage. And the same can be said about the actress who plays Aki. She is this desperate woman. She needs to get out of here as soon as possible. She is going insane with every minute she's staying in this dark, seedy sex studio, and she's ready to do anything to escape that. And it's not the blind man's mother dying that's gonna stop her from just going back to normal life. She was very close to finally tasting that success, and that all got taken away from her from this blind man. And she wants to take revenge. And in the same way, you feel for the blind man's mother. You feel this bond, this family. You just want her to take care of her son, and you can feel the genuine love she has. And in Japan, disabilities are very, very taboo, and she knows that, and she just wants to protect her son from, the evil society out here. So, do I recommend this? No, it doesn't have much in the blood department, or the horror, or the extreme, but it does stick with you. It does make you feel vulnerable. It does, it's basically, the same thing I said about Salo, except this one is a little bit less vulgar or crude, I guess. Anyways, grab yourself a popcorn and a shotgun just in case you want to Kurt Cobain yourself after this film, and go watch it as soon as possible. See you guys next time.